Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are so excited to have you here tonight. I am Aleeza Ben Shalom, your hostess, and we have Sarah Zoldan with an accent on the last syllable. Is that how it goes?
I don't really know how I pronounce my last name yet. Like, I still say Kupfer, and Shia will be standing next to me, and he'll go, Zoldan. And I'm like, Zoldan.
But where's the accent? Zoldan?
I say Zoldan, but it's technically Zoldan.
Zoldan, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I know, but
Sarah
it's hard for me to
Zoldan.
say. So.
Okay, this is Sarah Zoldan. I'm Aleeza Ben Shalom. We are your hosts this evening. We're so happy to be with you. And tonight we're going to be talking about paper perfect. Why this person on paper looks so much better than reality when you actually meet them. And then you get there and you're like, I'm so disappointed.
I'm actually really looking forward to hearing. Sorry, I'm really looking forward to hearing this answer because I don't get it.
What don't you get?
Like, why do people in real life never match up to how good they are on paper?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I knew that. Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Okay, we'll see.
Maybe you'll say you didn't know that. I don't know.
Either way. All right, go.
Okay, so here we go. So the number one reason, this isn't like Family Feud where we're like giving you the percentages 1, 2, 3. This is, in any random order that I designated. But the first reason that somebody might look better on paper than in person is because we have really great imaginations. So think about it. You get a book and you're reading your book and you're like going through it, right? A novel and you're reading. Did you have a moment, Sarah?
Right? I just realized the books are always
I can't
better.
even hear you.
What? You don't hear me?
Now I do.
I just realized the books are always better than the movies. Always. Always. The books are always better than the movies. Unless you hate reading. In which case you probably didn't read his or her profile anyway.
Exactly. So it's so true. The book is better than the movie. And you reading their profile is like reading the book. Why is the book better? It's my imagination. It's what I see. It's how I feel when I read it. Like all of a sudden I'm connected and there's something there. And then my mind, it's like a puzzle. It fills in all the gaps and all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And you're like, wow. And then you're looking forward to meeting them. So number one is that your imagination does a great job. The book is always better than the movie. Number two, you fill in all the gaps. So all the missing pieces, you make everything look picture perfect in your mind. And then when you show up, they're not actually picture perfect. They're just less than what you imagine. So you show up and you're like, oh, hi. Oh yeah, oh, nice to meet you, right? And inside, your brain is freaking out. You're like, is that what it said? I thought they said they were 6 feet. That doesn't look 6 feet. That maybe they're like 5'11". Wait, I thought they said they were all into, this, and they're talking about that. Like, wait, I don't understand, right? It's so frustrating. So your imagination is fantastic. It's a good thing. You should keep it, but don't be super disappointed when you show up on a date and your date does not match your imagination, which is what you're gleaming from the paper. Like you think from the paper that this is what they're going to be, and then they turn out to be that. So the first tip is you need to slow your thinking down, be present on your date, and take a look not in the mirror, but take a look at the person across from you and readjust. Wait a minute, I had a vision of who they are. Freeze. That's okay. That's a nice vision. Hold it. Put it over there. Leave it there for a minute. Now who's in front of me? Don't try to compare the vision to your reality. It's going to make your brain hurt. Try to just enjoy and connect with the reality, whether it's similar or different, whether you expected it or you did not expect it. Just go with the actual reality. Okay, that's number one. Number two is you have time to refine that amazing piece of paper. How many times do you write or rewrite or order or reorder, right? Edit. You edit yourself, right? And then what happens? You show up and you're a little bit unedited. You're totally raw. And so you're there in the flesh, and maybe you're not as eloquent with your speech, and the words were so eloquent on the page. I mean, maybe you wrote it, maybe you had somebody else help you write it, whatever you did, right? It just sounds better on paper than how it presents in person. So because we have a chance to refine not only the piece of paper, but our looks also, Photoshop, it's amazing. Poof, you click something. Somebody took my picture and she sent it back, and I had no makeup on, nothing. I was just looking like everyday Aleeza, and she sent it back. She goes, check this out. I had long lashes, I had makeup and mascara and blush and lipstick on my whole face. And I was like, do I not even have to get dressed up anymore? Like, you could just take a photo and plop stuff on me. This is amazing. But you could do that with images also. So we also have the opportunity to enhance what's on paper right there at that moment. And then you show up in person, and then you still look like you. And I have to tell you, in terms of photos, maybe you guys all know this, some people look amazing in photos. Do they look as good in real life? Not always. It's a weird thing. Some people look amazing in real life. I had this roommate once. She was gorgeous, and she took the most horrible photos. She didn't even like them. She's like, I don't understand, Aleeza. Why don't I take a good photo? I'm like, I don't know. You're gorgeous. I couldn't explain it. But some people don't match what is showing up on paper. So if you take an amazing photo, or you enhance your photo to be more, not as realistic to who you are, then when you show up in person, it's not going to match. And a person's brain gets confused. So if they're used to seeing you one way, and that photo is the only thing that's been replaying in their mind over and over again, when they see you in person, if it doesn't match, it gets confusing. So this is also a tip for people as you're going on dates. If you have straight hair, then you should wear it straight. If you have curly hair, you should wear it curly, guys or girls. If you have a haircut, then you should look like the haircut in your photo. Don't like get a haircut 2 days before and go from having this long haired something to this short haired something. I recently had a client, and she cut bangs, right? So like, don't show no bangs in a photo and then show up on a date with bangs. Like, it's just confusing. So make sure that you actually look like what's on paper, and then we have a better chance of it not confusing somebody in person. But sometimes when we see what we like on paper, and it's a picture or written words, a person gets a certain elevated status, and it's like, oh, cool. Oh, cute. Oh, like you. Oh, you said this. Oh, and all of a sudden they're on this pedestal in your brain, and they're sitting there on this pedestal in your mind. And then you meet them in person. Now, where do they have to go from here? Well, they're at the top of your list. They're on like an amazing cloud up in the sky. So there's only where to go but down, right? So everybody's going to have this deflated feeling, and that's normal. And that's why the paper version of you or them might disappoint you. It just might not feel like it's up to par, because your lovely imagination and your feelings have built it up so much. Okay. Number 3, sometimes people, in addition to the paper itself, you go to your friend and you're like, what do you think? And maybe it's not paper, maybe it's an app, whatever it is. You know what I mean with technology. It's the information. You go to your friend, you're like, check this out. And they're like, what? And you're like, oh my gosh, look, amazing, right? And they're like, amazing. And did you notice this? And did you see this? And all of a sudden, it's not just the paper version, it's the paper version on steroids. Like, somebody is so crazy excited because, wow, I think you look great and sound great. My friend thinks you look great and sound great. And now this pedestal that we put you on originally, you're in like a double pedestal. You like just went like through the roof, because a paper version, you know how many people can back up a paper version if they like it? 2, 3, 5. I don't know. How many people do you tell that you think this person is amazing? If you tell all these people that you think this person is amazing, then you go to meet them in person, what are they going to be? Well, they could be amazing, but they're probably going to start to be less than amazing, because again, you just built it up too much. So if somebody is so high in your mind from just the paper version, there is only where to come down. It's going to, like, something's going to rain on your parade and bring you back to reality. And you're going to be stepping in puddles and getting wet, and you're going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to go, but why? You sounded so amazing. And I had so much hope for this, because like, wow, the potential. And that leads us into the other thing, which is when you read the paper version and you connect to it, forget about the person for a minute. you just activated your potential. You just activated your hope. You just activated your desire. And that is something that gets also built up. And when our hope and our desire is activated, we get excited. And so there's like, maybe there's those little feelings of butterflies, or maybe there's just that heart racing a little bit and you're sweating when you go on the date and you're like, oh gosh, I'm so nervous. And right. And if all of those things are going on and you're having a physiological reaction to something, then when you get there and you meet them and you're all excited, again, where do we have to go? Right? We have nowhere to go except from this high level and bringing us back down to reality. Sarah, did I?
No, totally not related, but you just reminded me. It's not related. But I have to share it. I met a friend yesterday that I haven't seen in a long time, and we were talking about my fall. I fell at my wedding. I didn't just fall. I tripped on my wedding dress when we were coming in, when they announced us, and I tripped on my wedding dress, and I was holding my new husband's hand, and I pulled him down with me. Yeah.
I got it on video.
You did.
Yeah,
You got
and
it
a
on
friend
video.
did. We got it from 2 different angles. Can we make a GIF? That should be like a.
I have a GIF. I have a GIF of that from like 4 different angles. And we were just talking, like, she asked me, she's like, but really, what did you think? And I'm like, 2 things. Number 1, do you know Violet from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
So, you know, when she like blows up and they have to roll her out? I don't know if you noticed, when I fell, my dress like came up a little bit on my legs, and there was so much poof that my legs were just sticking out. And I wasn't like, I had a long dress and sneakers. I wasn't wearing socks or tights or anything. No, I felt the air. And my first thought was, this is what Violet must feel like. That was literally my first thought. And then my second thought was like, we fell so hard at our wedding, we literally have nowhere to go but up. That just reminded me when you said that. Like, no, but really, like, we went down hard.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so that is so true. If you fall, then, right, if you're so inflated and then you fall, there really is nowhere to go except but up from there. But you got to hang in. You can't just ditch a date because the paper version didn't match up immediately. So that's a perfect wrap up to this, Sarah, and I really love it. And it's true. Once you're up, you have nowhere to go but down, and once you're down, you have nowhere to go but up. So in your relationship, I always talk about a relationship having ups and downs, and just know, if you're on a high, you're on that roller coaster, you're at the top. You're gonna hit bottom and you're like, but don't worry, because you're gonna go back up and it's gonna be so exciting. But you're gonna have moments like that, and that's okay. And I expect in the beginning of a date, when you go from the paper version to in person and you have that like jaw-dropping moment, that's not the happy jaw-dropping moment, that's like the, oh, hi, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Just know that either you're gonna go back up, or if it's really not for you, so it's not for you, and that's totally okay. Totally fine. Okay, before we get to the Q&A, I would like to very much thank our sponsor. Our sponsor tonight is, drumroll please, the Seattle Shadchan, Lori Young. I love Lori. She has been working as a matchmaker and a coach. She is very motivated. If I tell you motivation, this woman is driven to help people to find their soulmate. She is sincere and genuine about the process. And she and I have actually started to collaborate and offer coaching and matchmaking together as a package. So if you have any interest in that, you can go to seattleshadchan.com if you want to learn more about Lori and what she offers. In addition, she and I also offer some training for matchmakers. So if you know of any matchmakers that are looking for support, they can also go to seattleshadchan.com and you will find out all about Lori and the Seattle Shadchan, what they do and how she can help you.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone just asked about video going in and out. I'm clear at my end. Aleeza, you're clear at your end, right?
I can hear you. Anybody else have that problem?
If anyone else has an issue, just drop it in the box so we can try to figure out what that's about. Before we actually get to the questions that came in, I'm going to ask the first question. So we have a lot, when we get a resume, a profile, I feel like it's super normal that we create this image of who the person is in our minds. And if it's someone that we're interested in, yeah. it's intuitive. It's not something we think about, but if it's someone we're interested in and we do get excited about it, it's very hard to say, okay, don't have any expectations. You know what I mean? Like, or go in with low expectations. Obviously, having low expectations makes things easier, but do you have any practical tips or like thoughts to share on how to set ourselves up for success by not going into a date with this, like, I don't know, I guess with high expectations based on this image that we've created?
Right. So you just gave me the contradictory answer, which is, but I have these things and it just happens. And, but how do I make it not happen? So, first answer is, for some of you, you might not be able to change that. You might have this expectation. You might not be able to get that out of your head. You might go on that date and you might not be able to shift that feeling. If that's the case, then I need you to remember that you're going to be up here. You're probably going to go down here, but hang in on the dating until you turn that corner and go back up again. So really it's about balance, right? If I'm over here and then I go all the way over here, wait till the pendulum swings back to the middle and make sure that you are balanced in how you're feeling before you make a final decision. You know, like, is this your final answer? No, this is not your final answer. If you're on a high or you're on a super low, do not give an answer. When in doubt, go out, keep dating until you hit the middle and you actually know where you're holding. If you're somebody that is motivated and has the ability to bring yourself into balance, when you're in that high, you know, there's two phrases, Gamzu Latova and Gamze Yavor. So Gamzu Latova is more like when you're at that low and you're like, oh, okay, this is also for the good. This is also for the good, right? And you're not feeling like it's very good, but this is also for the good. But when you're at that high, you say Gamze Yavor. This too shall pass. Okay. Why do you remind yourself of that at a high? Because this isn't going to last. It's not normal for this to last. Nothing can stay up all the time. You have to go from up and you have to come back down and then you have to go back up. We don't want you spiking super high and super low. We want it to be more of like a nice little country drive over the hills and not, you know, flying to the moon and back. So if you remember those two phrases, this too shall pass, and this is also for the good, it will help to bring you back into balance. Sarah was going to give us a singing rendition of Fly Me to the Moon, maybe. Frank Sinatra, my favorite.
Fun fact, I used to hate that music. And then I worked in a senior living community and I had no choice but to listen to it like all day, every day, and hire the singers to come in and like choose them, and I'll have them. Yeah. So now I like it, actually.
So we went to visit a grandfather at a senior living center, and they brought in the band, the one-man band, and he's singing all the oldies. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I love it. Yeah, and Frank Sinatra is my favorite. If you want to know one of my favorite things music-wise, it's Frankie Baby. That's what I call him.
All right. Okay, so we have a question along the similar lines, but a little different. So I just had an experience like that, flew across the country to meet a guy. He wasn't serious and was not being upfront with me. And I kept thinking to myself, but he has such good qualities. Let me give it another shot. It was such a letdown. How do I avoid this? I rarely even see a resume that really catches my eye. And what's the point of resumes if they don't really accurately reflect the person?
Okay, double question. When I don't answer the second one, you remind me.
Right.
Okay.
That's how this works.
So, okay, first of all, we are talking about virtual dating. So I have to do a mini plug. Can I do a mini plug here?
Yeah.
I just released Virtual Dating. This is your guide to relationships in a socially distanced world. This book would not have been possible without the immense support and help from Sarah. And as we're talking about virtual dating, this gives you all the tips and all the tools and all the resources that you need to actually actualize a virtual date, get to this in real life dating, and go from I like you to I actually want to marry you. So if this interests you, you can find it on Amazon. And also we have a book club starting November 1st, and you have to sign up. Go to marriagemindedmentor.com and click on the book clubs. Carly, put the one with the actual link to the book club there, and go sign up for the book club and join me. It's not just the book where you like read the book and you chat and hang out. We have extra videos, we have bonus worksheets, we have all these amazing things that are included, and chats with marriage-minded singles and getting into it. And so there's so many things that are included in the book club. It's kind of like a book club schmooze learning entertain. It's like your entertainment for the month of November. It's a 4-week program. It's $40. Like you spend, more money on a pair of shoes. Like it's no big deal. And this is going to help you to walk down the aisle.
There we go. I was going to say it's like all that. And by the way, you get to learn how to you get the tools to actually date someone virtually.
Exactly. So, okay, so let's get back to the question. So the 2-part question, let's attack the first part first, which is that you met somebody and they weren't who they said that they were. Is that the first part of it?
The first part is that feeling,
or they're not like serious.
So I think the first part of the question is not being upfront and having that feeling of like, but he has such good qualities, so let me give it another shot.
Right.
And then
would you say not being upfront though? I thought it was like that they weren't serious. No, not
right.
Being
but she flew across the country to meet a guy. It would have been nice for him to tell her up front that he wasn't serious about dating.
Yeah, right? So a couple things. Well, yes. One thing is sometimes people don't know they're not as like there's a couple different versions of me. There's who I was, there's who I am, and there's who I want to be. Okay? If I am looking at myself and I am here and I'm looking at who I want to be, yeah, I want to get married. I'm serious. I'm there. Come see me, right? This is not inauthentic. I'm just in the moment and the headspace and the heart space of who I want to be. Now bring me back to reality, who I am. I'm not ready for you. I'm not ready for this. I can't handle this. I'm sorry. Right? And you're like, wait, I thought you were. They're like, I thought I was too, but I am not. Okay? We can't always avoid it. And sometimes people get stuck in the past. They think I'm this and really I'm this. And you're like, but you're not the same person. And you're like, well, I am. And they're like, no, you changed. And they're like, I don't know who I am. Right? We get a little bit stuck, who we were, who we are, who we want to be. So I don't know how to avoid that because it's very difficult because they don't know how to avoid it because it's not that they're being not authentic. It's a part of who they are. Maybe you can ask them, are you relationship minded? Like, is it who you are? Or is it like, do you wish that you were that? Do you know what I mean? Like, where are you holding? Is it more of who you are now, today, tomorrow, you could be engaged in the next couple of months? Like I put people on the spot. I don't know that you can do that. They come to me, they want advice. So I'm allowed to put them on the spot. You might not be allowed to, but I ask people, dating, engagement, wedding, your due date, right? I call it DEW, dating, engagement, wedding. When do you want to start dating? Oh, now. Great. You met the perfect person today. When are you getting engaged? How soon? 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year? What's your timeline? Okay, now you got engaged. We're so happy. When are you getting married? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, you do. Pull out your calendar. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want a timeline. You meet the perfect person tomorrow. When are you going to propose? And they're like, I mean, if it's the right one. I'm like, it's the right one. I am sure, you are sure, everybody in the world is sure this is the one. When are you getting engaged, right? So I do a mental game and I play it so we can do the calculation of what actually feels right without even having that person in the picture. And that works out very well. By the way, my book's over there, but that's my first book, which is Get Real, Get Married, that has the due date and a whole bunch of other exercises in it as well. It's really helpful. So if you want to have that kind of tactless conversation with somebody, you could try. And if you've been dating for long enough online, before you go in person, you could say, like, what's your timeline? What are you thinking about? If they get all freaked out and they're like, oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe and they can't answer you, then you'll know maybe they're not so serious. But you might not always be able to avoid it. So don't beat yourself up and don't try to figure out the perfect formula because they might not know either.
All right. And then part 2 of that question is, what's the point of resumes if they aren't even accurately reflecting the person?
Yeah, they're doing the best they can. Again, like, is it the past self? Is it the future self? Or is it my neighbor or my best friend wrote this for me and like, I don't know, that's who they said I am. I guess it is. I'm a lousy writer. So it really depends on, is it the personality of the person who wrote it, or is it the personality and the thoughts and the feelings of somebody else who wrote it? The point of it is, how about if you meet Mr. Nobody, or Mrs. Nobody, I don't know who they are. You have no information versus I'm trying to give you accurate information, but it might not be accurate. It might be wrong.
I also think that sometimes our perceptions of ideas, things, personalities, character traits are influenced by how we were brought up and how we view the world. And so I think that sometimes they're not necessarily inaccurately portraying the person, but your understanding or interpretation of it might be different.
Ooh.
Right.
I often say that, like, what I said might not be what you heard or understood, right? What you read might not be what they implied or meant. Ooh, good point. Yes, 100%.
Awesome. All right. Follow-up question. How do we transfer the real charm or chen of a person onto a paper resume? So looking at this from the other way, like, how do we do it right?
Right? How do I take my spectacular me and
Uh,
give you like a 2D version, right? It's a lot of work. How do you do it? So I like people to think about explaining things in terms of an example rather than bullet points. So don't tell me that you're kind and you're loving and you're generous and you're supportive and you're compassionate and you're loyal and you're generous and you're giving and you're caring and you're, am I repeating myself already? But
yeah.
you get my point. So don't give me all of those bullet points. I'd rather you even tell me a little, you know, on Sundays, my favorite thing is to go sit with Rose at the nursing home as she tells me jokes, and she's a Holocaust survivor who tells me jokes, and we laugh over a cup of tea, right? Now I know who you are, right? I
And
don't need
I'm just going to say the flip side of that. On a standard resume, that's she's caring, or whether it's third person or first person, I'm a caring, compassionate person who enjoys spending time with seniors. Like,
right.
there's a
You hear the difference? Right. The difference is that something popped off the page, that there was a story, and all of a sudden it became alive and it became real. So I guess the short answer is that you kind of have to write a little bit of a novel. Like, this almost has to be, when you're reading fiction, you get that imagination, you get to understand what something is, and you start to see it. So if you read your profile and you're going kind, compassionate, caring, do you have a visual? Nope.
right.
Read, right? So if you
Which, by the way, is why we have so many people who don't match up to paper, because when you read kind, caring, compassionate, the way you're processing it and how you're building that image is not who that person is. It's how you know that one person who's kind, caring, and compassionate. And so you're building that image based on that person or those few people. Okay,
yeah.
keep going.
No, that's it. Great. That's it. That's exactly it. 100%. So did we get to the second question? We got to, no, that was the one part.
And
Great.
I think, oh, there was something I was going to say and I forgot. Oh, like, really, this is something, Aleeza, is something that you say all the time, but like, don't be afraid to let your uniqueness come through, even if there's like a little quirkiness or a sense of humor that most people can't handle.
I love it.
Like, you want to filter out the people, right? You're looking for one in like more than a million. Like, you're looking for one person, right? So you're doing yourself a favor by filtering out. It doesn't mean less dates, yes, but who cares? You're looking
because they would have been wrong for you anyway. You're just avoiding the people that wouldn't have fit. Yeah, we want to see personality. We want to see something. When I read the paper, if I've heard it 25 times before, you're not memorable to me. Right. If I read the paper and there's something that's different, what can be different? The story, how you explain who you are without kind, comma, compassionate, comma, caring, comma, loving, no commas. Get rid of the commas. I mean, you need proper grammar, but you know what I mean? I don't want a list with commas. I don't want bullet points. Right. I want to feel you as I read the paper, and then I'll really know you.
Awesome. All right. If you know a potential date is not serious, should you still go and meet them knowing they say they don't want something meaningful?
Do you want something meaningful? If you want something meaningful and they don't want something meaningful, to me, that's a deal breaker immediately. Can people switch? Can they be different? Sometimes, very rarely. If they really don't want something serious, and if they don't want something serious and you don't want something serious and you just want to hang out, bivakasha. if you want something serious and they tell you I don't want something serious, it gets awkward, it gets uncomfortable. The other one always feels pulled, and the other one's always trying to grab and yank them in, and they're pulling away, and it's just not so fantastic.
Awesome. This is a question that's come up a million times before, so we don't have to go into it deeply, but I want to address it because it's somehow relevant. What if everything does match up? The paper perfect version matches up with the reality version, but there's no chemistry. How long do we try?
Ooh, to me, this is when in doubt, go out and date them till you hate them. As long as you can tolerate going out, build, because the paper version is so nice, and there really is something there. If we could really connect and have that heart to heart in that moment, and that, oh, I like you and I want to be with you and I want to connect with you. So I would say to build it as much as possible. How long can you tolerate it? It's until you, like, at the end of the date go, Aleeza, I can't. I can't. Please don't make me go out with them anymore. If you really can't do that, then I would say, okay, it's not going to work. If you could try not just to go out and build the connection. Look for, I like their eyes, I don't like their eyes. I like their smile, I don't like their smile. I like the shape of their face, I don't like the shape of their face. I like it. Figure out what you like. We know what you don't like, so fine, you don't like it, great. What do you like? What's something that you could look at, connect to? What do you like about what they say? What do you like about how you feel when you're with them? Do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel at ease? Is the conversation pleasant? Is there a friendliness to it, right? Could you be really good friends with this person? Okay, great. That's a foundation. That's a level of a marriage-minded relationship. Friendship is one of those pillars of a beautiful relationship. So try to build step by step. You know what we need like a webinar on that, like how to build the relationship if there's like something there but not enough there to keep it going.
Carly.
Okay, note to self.
Note to Carly. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you addressed this in the first part of this webinar, but I'm going to just ask it again so you can give us a nice three-sentence answer. What do you suggest as the best way to handle that difference between paper and real life?
Take a deep breath. Accept that there is going to be a difference between the paper and the real life. Like, go in excited and then go in going, but there's going to be a difference, but there's going to be a difference. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be a difference. Talk yourself into knowing that there's going to be a difference and have a consciousness of that. Go in. You could even tell yourself, you know what? I know there's going to be a difference and I'm not going to be able to figure it out on the first date. I'm going to say 2-date minimum. I'm going to go out twice no matter what, unless it's really horrible, but I'm going to go out twice without even questioning it. At the end of the date, they say, do you want to go out? I'm not thinking about it. There's no thoughts. Yes, I do. Why? Because I'm playing a game with myself and I agreed to do this because I want to figure out the difference between the paper version and the in-person version. And then don't talk to too many people to make your head super crazy, because nobody's going to make you feel better about this when there's two different versions. Just remind yourself, I'm just going to gather more information. And when I have enough information, I'll make a decision. I'm not making a decision today.
I like that. Thank you.
I like this topic, by the way. I just feel like it's so frustrating. There's so much here. Like I want to like you more than I do. And I don't. You've had that, right? Like I wish I liked you more than I
5 times or 20.
Like I wish, because it could be so great, but I'm just not feeling it. It's not there. Is it going to ever come? I don't know. And I feel you.
All right. What if someone was half asleep when they updated a resume and they left out a word or two that was sent out that way?
A lot of people are pretty judgy about paper, like you open a book and what happens and you're like, oh my gosh, mistake, wrong spelling, not indented, what, right? Loses credibility. Are you going to read that book and be excited about it? Sarah's not. Sarah's going to be like, oh, Aleeza. I mean,
I'm the person who bends the pages and circles the mistakes and plans to email them, but then never does. That's me.
Yeah, it's not great. Check it once, check it twice, edit it, and don't kick yourself if it happens. But I mean, would you do that on a resume? Like, would you really spend so little time and not review it and not have somebody review it for you and then go apply for a job and then have all that stuff in there? No, you'd
But
make a
also,
stronger effort.
if
Yeah.
the person asking is the one getting that resume, like really do your best not to judge it. Pre the fact, yes, we want to take the time to really put in the effort. But I can't tell you how many times I am like a grammar freak, and I can't tell you how many times I've reviewed my updated profile and sent it out and been like, oh, I spelled my own name wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Or born in the wrong year. Okay, not exactly, but like I've made mistakes and I'm just like, but I reviewed this 4 times. But when your brain knows what you're looking for, your brain reads exactly what it wants to see. It's very hard to edit your own work. So just have someone else do it, but that's again not the question. If someone else sent it out and there's 1 or 2 words missing, Aleeza, can you agree with me that we should let it
go? I mean, like, look, if everything else it can't be you don't like the photo, you don't like what they do or where they live or who they are, and there's all these mistakes. That's not going to fly. But if everything looks nice and it looks reasonable, like just go with the flow and kind of let that slide for the moment. If you start to see other things that you're like, oh, see, like mistake on paper and mistake in person, like, okay, so yeah, it's not going to work. But be generous with your thinking and give them a shot.
Awesome. All right, so this is just a comment, but I'm gonna read it out loud because it's so relatable. I've noticed that in some communities it's standard practice to not include a description of the person, but to include details of all their 10 siblings and who they're married to. Not really.
Okay, so
there is a reason for that, but could we wait before we get to the reason? Could we just acknowledge that sometimes it's like super annoying because you want to actually know about the person, and it's like, I don't really care about your 10 siblings. Okay, now you can explain why it's there.
No, I just want to say we have people from all stages and all ages and all backgrounds, religious and secular, far to the left and far to the right and not anywhere in between. And Sarah's talking about somebody that comes from a more right-wing community where they might have a dating profile, or as they call it, resume, that just has information about everybody and everything in their lives. And then when you get to like the about me or about what I'm looking for, there's nothing and it doesn't explain it. People listen, the way that matchmaking and shidduchim was done and is still practiced is to not just match a person, but to match a family. And they realize that a person isn't a person, but a person is a part of a larger family. And we're bringing people and communities together. And so we're looking to make a really great match. And all of these things are factors that count into that. If you're looking at modern day dating and things, you get less of that if you're on just a regular dating app or all that just has information about you, right? And you exist as a little bit of you in the world, but then we don't know who you're connected to, and we don't know how your network has developed and your family and things like that. And sometimes our families can tell a lot about us, even not about us, but about where we came from. Might not tell us about who we are, but it tells us about where we came from and who we were and who we were raised by. So it's important information, and it gives us nuances and details, and this is how it's done.
All right.
They say this is how we do it. Never mind. That's not your generation. It's okay. I'll have my own little party over here.
You usually
I love you, Sarah. Call me now. This is
all right.
Goldie's got it. Thank you, Goldie.
All right. You want like
validation?
Aleeza, is it worth meeting someone who doesn't work on paper? For example, we both live on different coasts and neither of us can move for a few years due to custody arrangements.
Okay, initially, I just want to say no. It pains me to say that. Well, you said it doesn't work on paper?
Paper meaning the fact
meaning the custody?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. It is so hard to make a good match. It is so hard to make a good match. And when there's potential for such a good match, but for the fact that probably we can't live in the same state, but other than that, we're going to be great together. So like initially I'm like, but it's a technical fail. You can't live in the same state. No, you can't move because kids. You can't move because kids. So now what are we going to do? I mean, are you going to have a long distance relationship for 2, 3, 5 years? I don't know that that's going to work. And it's not going to work to get married and then fly and see each other once every 3 months. So if there's really what we would call a technical failure, which is just a location failure, and nothing can be done about it, where do we have to go from here? If you tell me one side could move if they wanted, or the other one, right? If there's somebody that's got some flexibility, then there's some potential there. But if it's really a no-go, it's just going to end up in broken hearts anyway. It would be very hard to build a relationship when you can't actually fulfill and take it to its ultimate level of bringing the relationship to fruition. So
it's the kind of thing where if you know, it sounds like they can't move for a few years, but something that you would say, let's put on hold. You both date other people, and if you're both still single in a few years, come back to it.
Yeah, like, you're not married and I'm not married. I'll talk to you in 5 years.
Right.
But don't wait around. And look, right. We hear all the time about romances that come back 5, 10, 20, 50 years later, and people are like, but I never met anybody else, and I waited, and I did too, and it wasn't intentional. And if it's your person, it's your person. I just wouldn't want to see a 5-year relationship go on. It's just not it's not ideal for either partner, or it's too hard to carry that. Unless you're not married to the idea of being married, right? Unless you, like, if you're the type of person that would have been dating somebody for 5 years anyway, so that's not a problem. For most of the people that we're working with, they have a timeline that goes anywhere from like 2 months to a year. So, a longer time period would be really difficult.
What you just said reminds me, I forget the name of the show, but there's a show where they brought exes back together. So most of them were like, we broke up a year ago, we broke up 4 years ago, whatever. There was one where they had, like, she was in England for the summer or something, like college age, and they had a summer fling. And then, Australia. And they brought them back together. They hadn't spoken. They brought them back together. They were like 60. They had both been married, had kids, had families.
Wow.
One, either they were both divorced, or like one passed away and one was divorced.
Wow.
And isn't that crazy?
Wow. And they got back together.
I don't remember the end.
Come on, you're ruining the moment.
They got back together. They definitely 100% got back together.
Thanks for making the story, Sarah. We like happily ever after.
100%. So this is a little bit more of a perfect profile question, but I'm going to bring it up here. What should be included on a paper resume?
Oh, such a good question. So we start with like your name. Sometimes people put their address, phone number, email, how they actually reach you. Then we give like age, height, what else do we go in that top left corner there? Sorry, you can help me out if I'm like visually picturing the resumes and the profiles that I've seen. And then they do.
Yeah, name, location, age. Mm-hmm. Always easier to put birth date than age, because then you get like 28 and you're like, no, because last year he was 31, so I don't understand how that works, but okay.
Yeah, it's always better to put a birth date, but if you're not really putting your real birth date down, then you're gonna have a problem. So, like you put your age, it's just paper resumes and profiles float around for sometimes a long time, unfortunately. Even when you get married, sometimes.
No, I'm saying even when you get married, they get passed around.
They're like, oh no, I think they got married.
My stepmom got a call a year after she married my dad. Someone wanted to set her up. And she's like,
I got married. Okay, so the other things, then we have family, we have parents and siblings. People put that on there. At the bottom, we usually have references. Usually I tell people, a rabbi, rebbitzin, mentor, teacher, somebody significant in your life. Other friends or other mentors and people in your life. You can have a few, like 3 at least. 3 is the magic minimum number, and you can have, some people put a lot. I really don't think you need more than 5. And if you're willing to put a little blurb about who you are and what you're looking for, that makes me really happy, because then I actually know more than just your name and where you live and who your family is. That's meaningful to me. Or
do we have webinars on the perfect profile and soulmate summary, or are they just courses in the Daters Academy?
ooh,
I don't think
Carly, take note. We don't think we did it yet. We could do that.
we could do that, or if you want it today,
Or we can address it now.
Academy, check out Daters Academy. What?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I didn't hear that. I was interrupting you. Yeah, if you're interested in those things, we do have a course. It is called Daters Academy. It is on our website. Carly will link it. And Daters Academy goes through 5 different programs that helps you to put together your profile and talking about your soulmate and what you're looking for. And if you're like, I never know how to explain what I'm looking for, and this is so boring and I hate it, it's awful, we totally give you prompts and we give you examples and we show you like, oh, here's how some people do it. Now you give it a try. And so we make it a lot easier for you to go through that process. So if that's interesting to you, you can check out Daters Academy, which is on marriagemindedmentor.com.
I'm just looking because I'm pretty sure we did a webinar on Hooked on You, Hooked on Me, but I'm not seeing it. Did we guest it somewhere else? Was it a course? Did we not end up doing it?
I don't know. We put Hooked on You in the book.
Oh, yeah, by the book.
Hooked on You, chapter 3. Hooked on You is in here. But we should do a webinar, Hooked on You. We did talk about that. I love Hooked on You.
Yeah. All right, we got Hooked on You. And then there was one other thing. I like to put work history. Not everything going back like 10 years, but
what right like, now and like
what I'm up to and what I'm doing and what, and some people put education as well.
Yeah, thank you. Those were the categories that were at the top of the sheet. Yep. Education and work history. Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. So on that note, why do some people feel like they have to hide their true selves when writing their profile? Is it because of fear? Why do people do that?
I think sometimes people think people won't like them if they know who they are. That's part of it. I think sometimes people don't like who they are and they like who they want to be, but they're not that yet. So they're not putting something that's not true. It's just not true yet. Like I'm working on being this person. I'm heading over here and I'm going to tell you I am that today, but today I'm only like a fraction of that. I'm like a 10th of that. And I need to add 90% more to actually actualize that and to be that person. So I think people do it for that reason. I also think they think about, well, what do I think people want? And then whatever I think they want, if they're a people pleasing kind of person, they're like, well, then that's what I need to be. And so you can very easily be that on paper, even if it's not who you are. Yeah. And that tells you it's a people pleasing personality. Some people have been told, like nobody likes you, you're not good enough. And so they're trying to be somebody else. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It comes from family, it comes from friends, it comes from dates, it comes from lots of different sources. But when you actually believe that, then you will change the paper to be something different because you don't value who you are. So that's why I think they do it. And I want to say sometimes it's not intentional. It's kind of like one of those subconscious things that happen. And also we're trying to, even if like who I am is a piece of that, I might bump it up and boost it, like, and enhance it. And it seems so amazing, again, because we have the ability to refine it on paper as opposed to in person where it's harder to refine who we are.
Thank you. Quick follow-up. No.
No. I have a question.
Quick follow-up to the resume with mistakes question. If I already sent out a resume with errors on Erev Sukkot and I didn't hear back from the shadchan, is there hope? What should I do? As someone who's done that a million times.
Erev Sukkot, like before Sukkot began, you sent out your resume and you didn't hear back from them. They didn't look at it. Yeah. Okay. Here's my time frame. From 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah until 2 weeks after the end of Sukkot Simchas Torah, I'm mixing up my Ashkenazi Sephardi here. Am I pleasing all crowds? Okay.
You're all quite pleased.
Okay, so from 2 weeks before till 2 weeks after, that time period is affectionately called temporary insanity. Don't you know this, Sarah? Come on, I drilled this into your head already. Okay, temporary insanity. That just means life is busy. Holidays, stuff, family, food, prayers, food, more prayers, food, more food, lots more food, right? And there's just this time period. And people do not come back down to earth into this lovely little world until about 2 weeks after. So I would just assume it got lost in the shuffle, it got opened, it got closed, it never got opened, they saw it, they didn't, it just poof. I would follow up. So now I would follow up next week. Tuesday, follow up on Tuesday. Tuesday is known as the Tov Tov day. First of all, it's after the weekend, which is great. It's a double Tov, it's a double good day. And send a message and just say, hi, I'm attaching a copy of my most recent resume, and here, blah, 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 do your little spiel. Thanks so much for taking a look, and just send it again. And you can, you don't even have to reference that you sent it before. Pretend like you're sending it new.
And for future reference, and for future reference, if you realize, as soon as you send it out or a couple days later, because I've totally done this on more than one occasion, just send a new email with the attachment and just say, I'm the type of person that will say oops, made a mistake, here's the updated version. But you totally don't even have to do that, because they're not going to remember that you sent them one 2 days ago. And if they do, they'll just be like, oh, she updated it, she got a new job, I don't know.
Always, here's a copy of my most recent resume. Here's a copy of my and by the way, anytime you reach out to a matchmaker or anybody in your life that you want to help you, you need to attach your dating profile. It must go not I sent it to you before that. No. What? As
opposed to what?
Hi, can you keep me in mind? Checking in. Just wanted to say, hope you think of me. No. Attach every time. Attach it every single time. Make it easy for somebody to help you.
Thanks. All right. I'm having trouble meeting real people, being men who are not scam artists. Should I give up on JDate and JSwipe? 50% of them are fake.
Oh, you're good. Only 50%? I would expect it to be about 80 or 90. I'm serious. I'm totally serious.
I believe and I'm also don't give up on JSwipe.
Sarah met her husband on JSwipe. So yeah, don't give up on JSwipe or JDate or JWed or any of those J's. Just go for all of them. Okay, so here's the deal. Anybody who's an old timer, you know this. What percent do I expect of the people that you meet online or anywhere in life to be for you? 2%. Yeah, 2. Yeah. 90% I expect to be wrong. 90% I expect to be really wrong for you. 90% of the people out of 100 people, I expect 90 to be wrong.
Right.
That leaves us 8% to be, okay, maybe possible, and 2% to be, I might be interested. Okay. Somebody just wrote about 99%. If 99% of the people that you meet are wrong, and you're not even getting that in between, maybe we could probably tweak what you're doing and try to work through it and shift things. I have a whole bunch of coaches that I've trained. We work through profiles and problem solving and issues and why it's not working and why we're getting wrong people and bad people and why I can't even get a maybe in between, I wish, I don't know person. If you're having trouble with that, you could visit us at marriagemindedmentor.com. Sign up for a 15-minute free intro call with one of my coaches. They are phenomenal. They each have different skills and different things that they could teach you and help you learn about this.
Awesome. Someone just said, isn't that what you say? 99 of the people we meet aren't for us. So that is totally true. Because we say you'll fail 99% of the time. But this is specifically talking about people online that you match with or that you message or that you see or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah.
99% of the people you'll never marry. It's only that 1%, that one person that you're going to actually marry. But 90% of the people that you meet are going to be really wrong. And you'll still have you'll have a little in-between percent there. That's, 8-ish. Yeah. That's maybe, could be, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then someone said, no one on Saw You at Sinai that I've ever been sent was a scam artist. And I don't think that anyone who sent a message on Jaywood was either. Maybe Hashem was just watching out for me, or maybe JSwipe has more problems. So probably both. But definitely Saw You at Sinai is a totally different setup. So Saw You at Sinai, you're not in direct, like you don't flip through profiles and just reach out to whoever you want to reach out to. It's all set up by matchmakers. So I think that in itself is the vetting process. JSwipe is definitely anyone can sign up. You have Jews, non-Jews, secular, religious, and everything in between and outside of that. So yeah, I don't know if they're scam artists more than just
I think bored. Right. And it can be that people are bored and they're just looking to chat, and maybe they say they're a certain age or they're a certain background and they're not exactly who they say. Like, it does happen. It's a normal part of the process. Not everything in life is going to work. A majority of it is really not going to work for you, and that's okay. And don't get frustrated. If you know that going in, it's not as frustrating. If you don't know that and you're expecting to meet people and it's going to work, then you're going to get really frustrated. But if you know, like, I'm expecting to get, 90%, but this just really isn't going to work for me, then you're like, oh, 90%. Ooh, 90%. Every time you meet somebody, and then you meet somebody that's halfway decent, you're like, oh, Aleeza, I think that's the 8%. I think I met one of the 8%, right? And it's motivational to figure out, who could potentially be right for you, because there's so much that's wrong for you.
Yeah. And again, it just comes out. It's that filtering process. I'm not going to repeat what you said.
I know. Before I met my husband, I looked around the world and I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm never getting married. There's just nobody. I've never met anybody that was like close to what I was really looking for. It just never seemed to be right. They were like, I like this, or I like that, or there were different things that I appreciated about people, but I couldn't see it as a whole picture of something that ever worked. And it did feel more like 99% were wrong and nothing was right. And but there were people that there was like, but there's potential, maybe, like there could, right? But then I met my husband, I was like, oh, what are you laughing about?
Because I felt like online dating for me was like 100% not happening. And like my husband was included in that. He's not even in the 8%. He was in the 90%.
He was in the 90%.
He was in the 90%. And I was just like, nothing else is going on. I have no friends because I just moved here. Let's hang out. And then now we're married.
But I knew. You didn't know, but I know.
I know you knew, but it's always like
he was in the 90% for you.
Should I like, is there anything on JSwipe? Like, my experience dating makes me want to say like, no, there's nothing of quality on there. But then also I know so many people, not so many, I know several couples who found each other on JSwipe, and I thought like, okay, that works for them, not for regular people. And then I found my husband, like, I can't tell people not to go onto JSwipe because people do find their spouse.
But every other person that was on there never worked for you until it worked for you.
Right.
You just have to pick your poison. What can you tolerate? What can you handle?
Exactly.
Can you handle it? Great, try it. You can't handle it? Okay, so don't try it.
How many times did I delete JSwipe before I re-downloaded it? Several.
You could do an ad for JSwipe. You are really like, poster child. Let me tell you about JSwipe. It stinks. It doesn't work. And then I met my husband after I downloaded it 7 times.
Aleeza, do you remember that when we were at the collaboratory, David Yaris was at our table?
Yeah, we met him.
We had a conversation about Orthodox Jews on JSwipe, and I basically told him to his face that it sucks. Yeah, that happened.
Nice of you, my friend. You should write it. I have his email. You can write him an apology.
I did. I reached out to him, and he sent me back. He's like, we have this new thing. You could put in your email address that you signed up with and phone number. And I'm like, I don't know. But if you put in your email address, they send you your first conversation, because it disappears after a certain amount of time. So they'll send you that first conversation that you had. And I'm just like, I really want that. And I told Chian, he's like, I don't want to see that. I was like, please do it for me. He's like, I don't know which email address they use. But we're going to try it. One day we're going to figure it out. Anyway, next question. Why do men not smile in their pictures? They always look so serious or make weird faces.
They're told not to. I'm trying to rack my brain why the photographers do this, or why people tell men don't. It's a thing. They're like this. They're like, no, they told me, you know, like cross my arms and give my best pose and just make a serious face. And I was like, you look miserable. You look so unhappy. Why are you doing that? They're like, that's what they told me to do. I just followed instructions. I'm like, no. So to all the photographers of the world and to all the wannabe photographers who are taking pictures of your single friends, please stop telling men to don't smile. Please tell them to smile. Please. They do. I can't tell you how every single time, and they're like, no, I just got my professional photos done. And I was like, oh, you didn't tell me you were gonna get that done. I would have told you to smile. Like, number one thing. Like, we should write an article on this. It is so really important. Like, you must smile. I just
so bizarre. I did not.
Even if it's like, it could be
right.
Little teeth, a little. I need a little. Please. Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. Terrible. They do this all the time. I multiple men I've spoken to about this, and I've looked at each one of their photos, and I was like, I don't like any of them. I saw one guy had 20 different photos, and I was like, I can't even pick out one. And he's like, why? I was like, because you look like you want to kill somebody in this photo. Yeah, you don't.
It's for your mugshot, but not.
It's a great mugshot. Like, no more mugs. Can we have a bumper sticker? No more mugshots for your dating profile photo, man. Like, knock it off. Yes.
Hilarious.
So yeah, you didn't know that? That's like a thing.
No.
Such a thing. Why would whatever. I don't know. I talk to a lot of guys, so they tell me. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, well, there's your answer. I didn't know there was an answer to that question, but there's your answer. All right. This is a technical question, but we're going to bring it up. If I have a get, so a Jewish divorce document, but no civil divorce decree, and I do plan on disclosing this in my profile, can I sign up for online dating sites?
Can you? You can. Do I recommend it? I don't recommend it. It's messy. It's really messy. So first of all, you could get remarried at any time. You could get your halachic, ketubah. You can get remarried at any time should you choose. If you're still connected to them civilly, then you're still connected to them through your taxes, through if you have children, through your finances, through many different ways, and you're not done. How long do you have to wait? Usually about 90 days from the day that you file. Use those 90 days to do something else. And if you're not filing for some reason and it's complicated, I know all the stories, then it's complicated. Then you should just wait. It's really not okay because you really can't get remarried. And the person that you're looking to date probably really wants to get remarried. Sarah? But except if.
Sometimes it happens.
And sometimes it happens.
One of my closest friends, she just wouldn't give him a divorce, financial stuff, and she just wouldn't do it. Like, that was it. There was no conversation at that point. And he, obviously he spoke to a rabbi and his rav and whatever, and he married someone else. It was a couple years after they got divorced. It was a couple years.
Wait, he's
civilly not civilly get married. He got married halachically.
Just wait a minute. He's civilly still married to this one, and he halachically got married to that one?
Yes. You can imagine the incredible jokes that happen every Shabbos table. Every Shabbos meal. Yeah. It's so actually he just got his divorce spontaneously out of the blue 6 months ago, and they were married for I think about 2.5, 3 years at that point.
So that is a most unusual situation. Most times a rabbi won't marry you unless you have both your civil and
obviously it depends. It was not something they did lightly, for sure not. There were also no children involved, which I think makes a big difference.
Made a difference.
But I'm gonna also just throw in, if you don't even have a get yet, do not go on any websites, because then people like me have you messaging us and thinking that we're talking to a person who is eligible to date, being like, well, we're gonna get. Like, dude, no.
Okay, so
And then you want to know why we think all men are creeps? They're not. We can acknowledge that, but like one too many messages like that, and it goes both ways. I'm not saying only men do this, but just don't do that. It's weird.
Right, so you need to be legally, halakhically divorced, and a strong preference that you are also legally divorced to whatever country you live in, because we work with clients from all over the world, and that you're free and clear to move on with your life. It gets very complicated when you're not free and clear. You'll also feel very different.
I was just going to say that, like, even if you've moved on from that relationship, as long as there's strings holding you down, because there is, like, a legal marriage is a string or two or three.
And those strings are if you want to date and you don't, it is motivation to get out of this situation as fast as possible. If you start dating, you could stay in that situation for 6 years because you're just busy and it doesn't matter. And there's nobody for me to marry anyway. So what's the big deal? I don't have to solve my problem. No, you have something that you want to get out of. We need you to get out of it and to move on before you actually go look for somebody new.
Awesome.
Something.
Another technical question. I think we have a note somewhere to have a webinar on profile pictures, but since we didn't do that yet, should women wear makeup or more makeup than usual in profile photos if they don't wear much makeup in real life?
Okay, if you don't wear makeup and you will not show up on a date with any makeup, then you just need to look like yourself in a photo, because what you see is what you get. If you do wear makeup, then in photos, you need to wear more. Same with video. Like if you saw me in person right now, I don't know if you can tell, but the quantity of blush that I have on my face makes me look a little bit like a clown in real life. But on camera, I mean, I think it happens to look great. So
okay, fine.
I mean, does it look okay or is it too much? I'll take it off.
Oh, clownish. No, I'm kidding.
No, but seriously, like when I leave this room and I go downstairs, my kids are like, Ema, why is your face so red? You know, like, why does it look like that? So the camera does eat some of the color. And so in order to appear like you'd normally appear in person, you have to enhance and add the color. But don't make it so much, you know, like I have seen, if we're talking specifically, we're talking about ladies, but like you put your eyeliner and you put it on like so thick and then everything is like, you know, a little scary looking. So we don't want you to look scary.
Some people look like raccoons in real life. I guess if they're not wearing, if you're not a raccoon in real life, then definitely don't be one on a picture.
But don't put on, so try to get the right balance. And if you don't know how to get the right balance for the camera, then you can always, you know, click Photoshop and poof, it puts makeup right on you. And, you know, just make sure you look similar to that in person.
Yeah. Also, I totally agree. And I also think like obviously it depends on the platform. I don't know if this is like a cyanide type of thing to do, but I know in other places I definitely put photos of me in like real life every day. Obviously I picked the photos that I wanted people to see, but like my husband doesn't remember which, you know, like nice smiling, all made up picture I put on, but he remembers that I had one rock climbing and I had one at a weightlifting competition. Like that's there. And I did that because I noticed that from the guys that I was looking at. I don't care how you look in a business suit. I mean, I care, but that doesn't show me. Pictures show your personality, I think.
So it's kind of like the written stuff. When you tell a story, I visually have it. And when you're doing something, then I visually have a memory of you as opposed to just a pretty face. Because I see lots of pretty faces or handsome faces.
Right.
Hopefully.
I like pretty faces, but pretty doesn't stand out. And also doesn't tell you anything about their personality.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not even sure if this is a different question than what we've had so far, but do you have any tips on how to read a profile to understand whether this is something that is worthwhile looking into, or this person is?
This is a good question. I like this question. So I used to be on Saw You at Sinai as a matchmaker many moons ago, like in 2007, 08, something like that. And I read through hundreds and hundreds of profiles. And then since then, I was on other websites and seeing profiles. So at this point, I have read through thousands of profiles, and it's like I get it and I'm like scan. I'm like, like a machine as I go through them. So yes, there are definitely things that I'm looking for. So the photo is one. When you look at a photo, you want to be somewhere from neutral to attracted. Okay, I'm okay if you're neutral, I'm okay if you're attracted. If you're repulsed, we have a problem. But if we can go anywhere from neutral to attracted, or in the range of like whatever, I could deal with this, then that's good. Then obviously, then because if I tell you not to look at a photo first, you're not going to listen to me anyway. So I'm just going to do truth like it is. Truth bomb. So photo. After the photo, you want to look at some of the details that are important to you. Okay. To me, I don't care the age range, like up and down. I'm super flexible on that. If I'm super flexible on that, it's not high priority to me. So I can scan through and look at other things. If you're super particular and you're not okay with an age range being wider than this, then you have to look at those things that are going to instantly be a deal breaker for you. No sense in reading something, falling in love with a profile, and then being like, but I'll never date them because they are a smoker and they live in California and they went to whatever and this is what they do and this is who they are. If there are going to be things that are bothering you that are definitely a deal breaker, scan profiles for those things first. Some people have financial things where, if you don't have a job or you don't have a job that earns a certain amount, then that for them is a deal breaker. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying good. I'm not saying bad. I'm saying, what bothers you, and what you like and what you don't like, and what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. I mean, by me coaching, like I'm looking to expand your preferences a little bit and squeeze you. Most people, I have to squeeze them, a little bit wider as opposed to narrowing their box. Although some people, we do have to narrow their preferences, but look for those things that are a definite deal breaker. If it's a deal breaker, like poof, we can keep going to the next. If you're super flexible in what you're looking for, then check out the photo and immediately read about them. Get a feel, get a sense, and look for things that you have in common or things that intrigue you. And if you're feeling slightly drawn to it, say yes and give it a shot.
Awesome. And we've got, is there any question or information that can sway a man to believe that driving an hour to 2 hours away to meet a potential soulmate is worth it?
Yeah, it's a soulmate opportunity. Like, hello.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
often have you seen it? Yeah, I know.
The question is, okay.
What can you? I know. What can you do to sway them?
What can you say, or what information?
I mean, I usually ask them, like, do you have anybody more intriguing at the moment that you'd like to go out with? I mean, you might not want to hear the answer to that, but I would ask them that. Back up, Aleeza.
Back it up.
Back up.
Let's say I think this is where the question is coming from, so that's where I'm going to take it. On a profile, right? Before you even get to having a conversation, let's say I live 2 hours out of let's say we're talking Jewish community, and I live 2 hours at a normal big Jewish community. I live in a little suburb or something. What can I put on my resume so that they don't see location and immediately pass by? Like, I remember when I was living in LA, I was told all the time by shadchanim, if you're even on the East Coast 4 times a year, put the East Coast as your location, because otherwise people are just gonna like go right by you, which I didn't.
So that's one of the things that people do, even though it's not the case.
But then we have the issue of like, well, why did they lie? And if they lied about this, what else are they lying about? So
it's like how do you play the game? Anybody who's going to instantly rule you out because of location, like, we can't do anything about that. Anybody who makes a snap judgment on that and is like, I'm not willing to deal with it, the truth is they're not really willing to deal with it, unless Hashem kind of covers their eyes and they're like, oh, I missed that. Wait, you're from where? Where is that? How far is that from me? So, we're not looking to intentionally pull the wool over somebody's eyes, but we are looking to play the dating game fairly and to play it smart. I mean, fair doesn't mean 100%, it has to be exact. Oh, it's such a hard answer, Sarah.
That's why you're the dating coach and you're answering, not me.
Listen, people do change their location, right? So like if you want to be dating people in New York and you live in Philadelphia near me and you're willing to travel to New York to be there and you write New York on your profile and they're like, oh, where do you live? And you're like, oh, actually, I'm temporarily in Philly for the last 3 years, right? My brain's over there. So you just have to be willing to travel to them. I don't know. I think you just have to write a spectacular profile with all your information. Anybody who's going to bump you out of the way because of location, I just have to say they're not worth our time at the moment. Like, it's just, maybe you have to seek them out and kind of get somebody to say something on your behalf. You're super flexible. You're willing to travel. I mean, I have heard, jiggly, sorry about that. I have heard from a bunch of men who say, like, if I could be dating in New York, why should I travel to Philly or Baltimore or anywhere outside of New York? Because there's enough people here. And my answer is always, oh, really? Well, you haven't met her yet, have you? And this is a great suggestion. And they're like, that's fair. they're like, but I don't want to travel. And I was like, but you want to get married? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And then we kind of leave the conversation at that. And if they're really not willing to travel, then they're really not. And this is why I do coaching. We've got to get people's heads screwed on straight, and we've got to get their hearts in the right place, and then we got to get them behind the wheel. And I don't know why you don't like to drive. I get in the car and I am so happy. I don't know, maybe I have 5 kids, and so the car is a really wonderful, quiet place. But I just drove to New York 2 days ago. What day is it? Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday? 2 days ago, Tuesday, I just drove to New York, 2 hours in and 2 hours back. And it was like no big deal. It was like a tic tac. Like, that's just fun. Like, I don't know. It was entertaining. Bring a CD, learn how to speak another language, talk to a friend, hang out. Like, the car is no big deal. Why is the car a big deal? Could you tell me in the comments, why is it a big deal to get in the car? Okay, I know there's gas and tolls. Okay, that might get expensive. But like, is it the time? Is it just, it's over the course of time? It's a regular commute. It's a regular thing.
You know what I think? I love driving.
I do too. Maybe that's my problem. I gotta have more empathy.
No, I'll tell you what I'm just thinking now. I've never thought of this before, but now I'm thinking the dating process, when you've been dating for a while,
it wears you down.
It's annoying as heck. Like, I remember when I got to the point, I remember at the beginning when I first started dating, like, I like meeting people. Like, oh, cool, another person in this world that I now know, But I remember when I got to the point where I was like, I do not want a free coffee. Like, I'm sick and tired of people saying to me, what's the harm in just meeting him? It's a free coffee. And I'm like, I'll pay for my coffee. I will pay for my coffee.
I just want to meet a human being.
To the point where it's just not it. Then it's not just the dating is a schlep, and then to put a 2-hour drive on top of that. And I say this as someone who's an out-of-town girl all the way, and did not understand, like, what's the big deal? Like, I'm an awesome.
No, it's a big deal.
Travel, but now I like.
But virtual dating
gets you past that.
No, but virtual dating, if I meet you and I like you virtually, then I'm going to be motivated to come and see you.
That's what I'm saying. Virtual dating gets you over the hump of, like, are you worth making the drive for? If you
solved your problem, the answer is virtual dating. That's it.
What world are we living in that virtual dating is the solution to, like,
is that insane?
Not wanting to drive to date? That's insane. But it's 2020, so whatever. It works.
Yeah, just go out a couple times. Yeah. If you like them enough. There's a couple that I've been working with, and he's been schlepping hours to see her. He schleps, I don't know, I think it's, 4 hours in and 4 hours back, and it's going on for 4 months. And like, there's a lot of driving. But can I tell you what do all of those hours account for? What do all of those hours mean? You tell me. I'm going to tell you. It means he likes her. He's in. He's willing to make a commitment. He's willing to do it. He wants to be connected. He wants to see her. Yeah, is it a schlep? It's a schlep. Does it cost money? It costs money. Is it annoying? Is it time consuming? Yes. And you know what all those things add up to? She's worth it. That is the most enormous compliment in the world. I want to see you and spend time with you. And that's how important it is to me that I will come in to see you. So it builds a relationship.
Yeah, I think
build it.
Definite advantage of the Corona
many
situation.
disadvantages. Yeah, Corona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it really is, because I didn't think about it. Like I'm super familiar with the virtual dating book, but I didn't think about it from this perspective before. Like now, because it's become such a common thing, it's not weird to tell someone like, hey, I mean, even before this, video dating was always a thing for us out of towners. It was like,
But
let's
not for the in-towners, not for the people, right?
right,
Not for the people that weren't used to
it
it.
has like
Video dating became the
normalized
norm.
it. Yeah, I think that's a really cool advantage. That's awesome.
We can write a whole article about that.
Carly, Carly. I think we should just make a bumper sticker that says Carly.
Carly. Take note, we need to write an article about the advantage of virtual dating, helping people get over the distance thing so that they don't just say no to something out of town.
Yeah.
That's what we're all excited about over here.
Yeah. All right, Aleeza, we have a few minutes.
Okay.
You want to tell us how people could get in touch with you and what dating coaching is and how they can find out more about it?
Absolutely.
Great.
First of all, I want to thank our sponsor again. Thank you to the Seattle Shadchan, Lori Young, who has sponsored this evening. You can visit her at seattleshadchan.com and learn more about what she does in terms of working with singles, in terms of matchmaking and coaching. And she and I have teamed up to offer coaching and matchmaking together. Ooh la la, a group package. It's very fun and very awesome. And if you go to seattleshadchan.com, you will find all the info there. If you're like, Aleeza, this is great, this information is so helpful, and I need more information and I need help, but like I need it to be specific to me, and I'm tired of having these big group things. I just want to talk to you and your people. So you should, because we have a 15-minute free sign up, 15-minute free call that you should sign up for. So we have 5 amazing coaches. Each one has a different style and a different feel. And you're going to be like, oh, but Aleeza, how do I make a decision? Who should I choose? What you should do is choose a 15-minute session with me, and I will match you. I will be the matchmaker to match you with the perfect coach that is exactly right for you. Leah does personality analysis. If you are interested in that, first of all, she's due to have a baby soon. B'shar tova. We hope that she does well. We're so excited. So she will have a little maternity break in there. But she does a personality analysis, which we have actually started to use to help people with matchmaking. We also have Alana and Shira and Reagan and Michael, who are all of our coaches, and each one has their specialty. Reagan works with 20s and 30s and really does an amazing job with women who are looking to get clarity in their relationships and enhance and improve their dating. Shira and Michael are very well versed with all ages and all stages and all backgrounds, also helping you to figure yourself out, improve the dating process, get over these hurdles and things that you're working through, and make it to the no, it's not just I like you, but like I want to marry you kind of person. And Alana is a coach and a therapist and a shadchan, and she has a tremendous skill and ability to go deep and to work with clients on a deeper level where it's coaching, but because of her therapy background, like she gets it. She gets who you are on the inside. So if that's of interest to you, you could sign up directly with Alana. You could sign up directly with any of the coaches for a 15-minute intro, or if you're like, I still don't know, Aleeza, let me talk to you, you could sign up with me. And I have very limited slots right now for coaching and working with singles, but I have been working more like on a package and working with them for several months at a time. But just sign up for a free intro call. That's it. Get to know us, figure out what you want and how we can help you. We are completely motivated, dedicated, committed and passionate about helping singles. This is like what I eat, breathe, and sleep. You could ask my husband. I even fall asleep in this chair, and like I come down at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry, I fell asleep. I had a call. I went till after midnight, and then I was working, and then the computer was just on my lap, and I conked out. So we really, really love this. Our main goal in life is to help you to get over your hurdles and under the chuppah, and we would really like it if we could help you. So sign up for your free 15-minute session. And please, if you have any interest in virtual dating and it's not just virtual dating, it's really lots of dating tips, tools, and things. Even if you're not virtually dating, but you're thinking about how to advance a relationship or other ways of developing a relationship, we have things in there like mystery in your history. We have things in there about how to grow the connection and things like that. So it's not virtual dating only. It's all about enhancing your relationship. The book is on Amazon, and the book club, I'm running a book club. I'm so excited. It's November 1st. It's really exciting. And it's not just the book, and we're not just going to schmooze about the book. There's different activities, there's different worksheets, there's a whole program, and it's amazing. It's like a little app on your phone, poof, poof, you can pop in, you can do as much as you want, you can do as little as you want. And then there's a whole community chat. So you get this whole new group that is, I love it when people are marriage minded, relationship minded, virtual dating minded. Like it's like a group think tank, you know, like you need a minion, you need 10 men to like, you know, get those prayers all the way up. So like you need a book club to really elevate the energy of dating and keep you going. Cause you're like, oh, dating and it's not working. It's not working. Yeah. Come join us. We're all going to get on the same page. It is working. We are going to find your soulmate and we are going to make it happen. And we would love to do it together with you starting November 1st. And it's $40. Like, 40 book costs $40. I mean, this little ring light over here cost me $40, but you could have a book club for an entire month. That's $10 a week. It's like, it's cheap. It's no biggie. And these webinars have been free. So you haven't been paying for all of this, and I have, and it's really expensive. So join me for the book club. Anyway, come join us. I would really love to see you in the book club, and it's going to be a lot of fun and really awesome. And that's a wrap. Do we have anything else? Did I miss anything else? And thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Carly. I love my team. I love working with my people virtually. I don't get to see you guys, but I just am so happy that you guys are here. It's really special, and I'm so grateful.
Same.
All right, awesome. Everybody, have a good night, and we will see you. Oh, we'll see you next week for
a Democrat or versus Republican relationship. You do not want to miss that one. Hold on, I will tell you. I don't even remember the tagline. Hold on, but it's good.
This is our politically charged webinar. It's gonna rock, actually. It's gonna be fun. You don't have it popping up.
It's a good one because it's a question that so many of you have asked us. Do politics matter when you're voting for your soulmate?
Oh, right. That was a good tagline. All right. So we're going to tell you the answer next week. We'll see you then. Or maybe you'll get married before then and we won't see you. Bye.
Bye.